Packies in a Pod is powered by Parkinson's UK, the charity that's here to support every Parkinson's journey every step of the way. Wherever you're from, whatever you need, visit parkinsons.org.uk for more information.
30 all. 40-30.
Is it
tennis?
tennis
Match clock.
Yay!
As usual.
As usual. Well done, Dave. You won. Because tennis team, because you've been to Wimbledon recently, right?
I've been to Wimbledon, yeah. Quick, before we start, hello, welcome to Two Parkinson Pod, podcast for people with Parkinson's, by people with Parkinson's. I'm Dave, he's Kuhn. Together having the dreaded leg for 28 years.
Indeed.
Yeah, I went to Wimbledon semi-finals day.
Well done.
Brilliant.
How was it?
In the ballot, I got tickets. Amazing.
You're a winner.
Fantastic.
You're a winner, and you saw Mr. Sinner?
I didn't. I saw the women's semi-finals. So
okay.
Good.
Yeah. That was a good match, right?
Coco Gauff was amazing, yeah.
Yes.
Went all the way and then...
Yeah. It's a great name, by the way, isn't it? Coco Gauff.
Brilliant, yeah. But I parked outside Wimbledon. Incredible. My wife drove. Parked outside Wimbledon. How much did it cost me?
£50.
Lower.
£20.
Lower.
£0.
£0, yeah.
Courtesy of...
Wimbledon. Of my blue badge.
And your blue badge, your disabled blue badge. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You said you were feeling a bit off that day or something, and so you thought...
Yeah, we're
you
driving.
were instructed by your missus to drive, right?
Yeah, but it's incredible. You just go online, you book parking, and it's 5-minute walk from the...
Oh, you got to book it in advance?
Yeah.
Right.
Quite busy.
You
quite
do
busy
in
there.
SW, whatever it is, 17. Yeah. Wonderful. Before we go any further, Dave, shall we introduce our guest here?
Let's do it.
We have a live studio guest, Professor David Dexter from Parkinson's UK.
Director of Research, none other.
Yes.
Good morning, guys. It's fantastic to be here again.
Yeah.
I didn't push the record button first, didn't I?
No, this is take 2. So but we didn't get too far into it. In fact, before we go any further, why don't David, you introduce yourself properly? So we talked about Parkinson's UK, but can you tell us what you actually do there and your role?
Yes, I'm the scientific director, so it covers all of the things around research. Mm-hmm. So it's not only about the grant funding, our Parkinson's Research Ventures initiative, which is where we work with biotechs, but it also covers our research communications, the Progress magazine that comes out through your door. It also covers all the involvement about trying to get people involved in research, working with clinicians to plan better trials and things. So it covers all of those parameters for the charity.
You've been working in Parkinson's research for over 40 years, haven't you?
Yeah. So
it's a bit about your background.
Well, I started doing my PhD, which is actually funded by Parkinson's UK.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So
where was that, if I can ask?
It was with Peter Jenner and David Marsden.
Those
David
are the greats, right?
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
At Queen Square, is it?
So we were at the Institute of Psychiatry there. So there was a building there was dedicated, half of the building was dedicated to Parkinson's research a long time ago when I had hair there.
Well, you're looking well, aren't you? I've got to say, apart from you, Dave, I think Professor Dexter here is the best dressed man in Parkinson's, right? There's a very sweet moment when the two of you were standing in the Chelsea Flower Show a couple of months ago. This guy comes up behind both of you and goes to David, can I just say, that's an impeccable suit that you've got on.
Yes, that's right.
A complete stranger. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I should have taken a photo of that moment because you both were very well dressed. And Dave's got his bright patterned shirt on in recognition of your presence here. So So sorry, I was interrupting your background. So PhD.
Yeah. So then I went to Imperial. I was there for 23 years. I was deputy head of division of brain sciences there, and then jumped ship and went to Parkinson's UK when they were setting up the Parkinson's Research Ventures, and also they were looking for a new director to change the direction of research.
And while you were at Imperial, you started something rather special there that me and Dave went to visit last year.
Yeah, that's right. That's the Brain Bank.
Yes.
Which is
down
still
to you,
running.
right?
Yes, it's 2002.
Yes. And over 2,000 brains.
Yeah, that's right, because I did my PhD using human brain tissue, and it was difficult to source. So set up the Brain Bank to really pump prime research all around the world, because the tissue goes around the world, it does, yeah.
Can we just rewind a few years, David, because we always have these really interesting chats with you, and you told us one particularly fascinating story about what triggered your initial move or interest in Parkinson's back when you were a young man, or even a teenager maybe, or even...
Yes, it was when I was a teenager, yes, yeah. So my father died when I was 15, but my mother loved to go dancing. And so I became a very reluctant teenage partner of my mother. And at the time, we lived in a retirement sort of town on the east coast in Lincolnshire. And obviously, a lot of people affected by Parkinson's came to the dance halls. They actually walked in with less ability than that they could dance. And it really triggered my interest in Parkinson's. Parkinson's, in my mind, affects things when you're doing them an automatic pilot, like walking.
Right.
You've learnt it as a child. You've fallen over many times. You've perfected that technique of actually switching your brain into automatic pilot. Because if you had to concentrate on everything, it would be hugely tiring on yourself. So you do things in automatic pilot. And then when things get a bit more dangerous, like cycling, or you're using less learned mechanisms of moving, like dancing, you switch off automatic pilot, and that uses a different brain circuit, and that isn't really affected by Parkinson's in most people. And if we can understand how that alternative circuit works, we could actually try and stimulate it with external devices and things. So there is a window of opportunity there of looking about what can people do with Parkinson's now, like cycling, dancing, and understand that pathway, and then we could perhaps develop a different type of treatment.
Playing tennis.
Yeah,
I think that probably counts. That
That's
falls into
right.
that same category, right?
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes, Dave, you're looking pretty good at the moment, but when he has an off period, he will really slow down. But then at that time, he can
Do a little drop shot or run the length of the court. won't it?
It's like, I really wish other people can see this, and people from the sort of scientific world could see some of this stuff in practice. Because I think it's a real eye-opener into some of the clues as to how the condition originates and the complexities of it, but also the practical aspects of it as well. So
it's just like walking football as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put ball in front of some people, and they can dribble the ball around the court.
Ball sports,
quicker than what they can walk.
Incredible. It seems to be a very exciting time in the research world of Parkinson's at the moment. We hear good stories all the time, which stem cells are the latest one. Can you tell us about that and how that's going?
Somewhat breaking news.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. STEM-PD announced its results, and this is one of a cohort of stem cell trials that have been running around the world. So this one was done in Europe.
Sweden, wasn't it?
Yeah, and also in the UK as well. So they've used a standard line of cells that they can produce in large quantities. Stem cells, were first thought about, when I was a younger guy doing research, and, they were hailed as going to be a big breakthrough. But really what blocked them was the ability to mass produce them in clinical grade so that it could actually be used in clinical trials.
Without extracting from a
fetal brain.
Yeah,
yes. So
we've had Professor Thilo Kunath on the podcast. Great guy, by the way. We met him recently as well, didn't we, Dave? And that was a real honour. But he explained that actually now you can just take it from adult cells. And
that's right. You can take skin samples. You can reprogram these cells. You can form progenitor cells, which then go on to form dopamine-producing cells. So these are transplanted into the putamen, which is the bit of the brain that normally releases dopamine. So when these cells mature, they start forming connections, and then they start releasing dopamine. And, in the STEM-PD trial, the vast majority of subjects on the trial were feeling better. They could actually reduce their doses of L-DOPA. And this is mirroring what we're seeing in the other trials around the world. So it's a really exciting time. And, some of the other trials are backed by big pharma like Bayer. So they're going to drive these through because they've got the deep pockets to do these larger trials and things. So it's looking like as an exciting therapy that, should become freely available. It's worthwhile putting a caveat on it. So this is going to help you with motor symptoms of Parkinson's. It's not going to slow the disease down. So it's going to allow you to hopefully come off L-DOPA for some people, or reduce the doses down and things.
So would you consider that to be a cure in the wider definition? I mean, what category does that come under?
I think it's more of a a symptomatic therapy rather than
not
a cure.
disease modifying. So
No.
Right. Okay.
So these are replacing your lost dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just almost like putting a cell in your brain that is releasing L-DOPA. It's a symptom modification. So these cells won't slow down the processes that affect all of the cells in the brain in Parkinson's.
Dave's got a really good analogy for this. Go on, Dave.
I think it's like planting the seeds and the fertilizer, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly it. Yeah.
As opposed to something like gene therapy, thinking about Regenerate PD here, which is the follow-up to GDNF.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So Regenerate PD, because we saw some positive effects of GDNF, but it was a really complicated delivery process. They had tubes in their brains.
Very invasive.
Yeah, and they had to go for monthly infusions. Whereas the Regenerate, which is also being done in Bristol as well as in the States. So for these individuals, they have a single surgery and they're given a gene therapy. So it will instruct the cells within the putamen to start producing GDNF.
Amazing. And those two trials particularly, I think the latter is blinded, so we can't say too much, but we know people that have been involved in those trials, and just anecdotally, there's some really positive stuff that's coming out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you tell us, David, every time we see you, it's a really good time in Parkinson's research. I mean, I can start to feel that now, right?
There's a vibe. The stars are aligning, I say, really. It's that positivity in the field where there's going to be something, major coming through. We've got some fantastic drugs now in phase 3 that are coming through. And there's lots of trials that everybody can take part in.
One of the people on one of these trials, the stem cell trial, is Andy, and we can speak to him now.
How do you feel, Andy, is the big question. How are you feeling? 22 months on.
It felt like someone's lifted a really heavy winter coat off me. My body just feels that much lighter and so much more movement, less stiffness. I play table tennis, big on that. And for some while, I think you've mentioned this with your tennis, there was a particular shot that, my forehand smash, I just lost it. I just hadn't got that feeling and flexibility, whereas that's starting to come back now. I'm still rubbish at table tennis, but at least I can start to go for those shots now. And my movement's a lot more fluid. There's no big eureka change, but lots of little improvements.
You're really pushing the boundaries of science here, aren't you? Incredible. I mean, more people have walked on the moon than took part in this trial.
Yeah, it really does feel like those kind of astronauts.
What's the family made of it, the whole thing?
They're blown away by the improvements, because now they're not having to feed me at dinner time or get stuff splattered all over them as I get the tremors.
Thanks very much for being so brave and taking part. Incredible. It's an amazing story.
It really is. I mean, I can just hear it in your voice. What a selfless endeavour this has been for you, for the rest of the Parkinson's community. I think it's wonderful what you've done. And I'm so pleased it's... early signs are, touch wood, early signs are, it seems to be working out. And honestly, this could be a big one. This could be the one, right?
It could, yeah. And we'll wait and see. Hopefully, the phase 2 trial will bring even more insights and surprises for us all. Hopefully, yeah.
You said it yourself. You're from Sheffield. Man of steel. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
You fill up my stomach like a greasy chip butty, like a night out in Sheffield.
I can only apologise, Andy. I bet Sergio was a breeze in comparison to this.
Great. Well, thanks, guys, for all you do and for sharing these messages and helping grow, build that community spirit.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure, Andy.
What about some of the other trials? There was another one announced recently, results from, I forget,
Syntara.
Yes, that's the Australian one that's designed to help.
Yes, this is a world's first for looking at a treatment, but we've done it in almost like what we call a prodromal syndrome of Parkinson's.
Early.
Yeah, so these are people with REM sleep behavior disorder. So when you're lying in bed dreaming away of that holiday on the beach and things, you're not normally acting out the dream, you're fairly immobile. But people with REM sleep behavior disorder, start to act out their dreams. They knock the lampshade off the light of the bed.
Punching, kicking, quite disturbing.
That's right, yeah.
That's normally often a precursor to Parkinson's,
That's
isn't it?
right, yeah. So probably about 80% of people will convert to Parkinson's over a 10-year period.
Right.
So we chose, because this drug is looking at neuroinflammation. So inflammation is normally a good process in the body. When you cut your finger, you get an inflammatory reaction that helps it heal. But sometimes inflammation gets locked in and it can actually cause damage within the brain. And the Syntara drug will actually dampen down inflammation. But we wanted to see, can it do it? But you can look at inflammation with a brain scan. There's a tracer called TSPO, and it's a marker of inflammation in the brain. And if you look at TSPO scans in Parkinson's patients, they're really high. They've got a lot of lit up TSPO binding in their brains compared to controls, whereas you do with the RBD subjects, they're in the middle. So what we want to do is to see whether we can actually turn that signal down in the RBD people. So just on a 12-week treatment plan with the Syntara drug, you could see a significant dampening down of the neuroinflammation in the brain. And that's the first time it's been done in RBD subjects.
A measurable impact in symptoms?
No, because so this is just a 12-week short study. Yeah. So really what we wanted to do is seeing, does it do what it says on the tin?
Oh, I see.
And then the next step is either we do a longer study in RBD to see whether we can stop people converting into Parkinson's, or we also do a study in Parkinson's itself. Because neuroinflammation is implicated in Parkinson's because it can potentially, enhance the damage to the brain nerve cells there.
Okay, and that would come under the category of disease modifying.
That's right. Yeah.
So just explain the difference between disease modifying and symptomatic treatments, and how you determine as a charity where to put your efforts.
Right. So disease modifying is where we're looking for slowing the progress down. So we'll slow the progression of Parkinson's. Whereas a symptom management technique is like your L-DOPA or your dopamine agonist. You're just treating...
What's on the surface?
Yeah, you're just treating really what the symptoms are. And underneath, you still got the mechanisms that's causing Parkinson's running rampant, really. Yeah. And why do we choose? What do we choose is a good question, because, really as an organisation, we're led by our community. People want something to help with their symptoms now, as well as the holy grail that we're trying to do, and actually, develop the disease-modifying therapies. So what we want is to develop better treatments, not only just for motor, but also for the non-motor symptoms, whilst we're actually investing in the disease-modifying therapies as well. You
mentioned the stars are aligning a bit. What else is exciting you right now?
I think there's some fantastic techniques coming through. So one of the ones that we launched was with a landmark study. When I set up the Brain Bank in 2002, the way, we can see in the future, I didn't have a crystal ball, but I knew that the way that we froze the tissue would, lend it suitable for some fantastic techniques that are coming through. So we can actually look at the individual cells within the brain tissue now and look at the genetic coding and the messaging that they're sending out. And proteomics now, where we're looking at the proteins in the tissue, that has just advanced so much. Whereas landmark is also... going to give us a unique perspective on the causes of Parkinson's. And also, for the first time, we'll identify the true causal risk genes for Parkinson's. And if we can develop drugs that have a genetic anchor, then they're more likely to succeed in the clinic. It's like, not everybody develops Parkinson's. It's like not everybody develops cancer. Your genetic profile, mine family is, A lot of it is heart disease, cardiovascular disease. We have a risk genes for cardiovascular disease and not for cancer. And it's the same Parkinson's. There will be something that is actually enhancing your susceptibility, not necessarily a gene mutation.
Environment sort of loads the gun and...
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
genetics fire the bullet, don't they?
That's right. Yeah. So the environment...
It's not a good analogy, Dave. I like that.
Well, the environment can actually modify these genes.
Yes.
Because I know I've got a bad profile of cardiovascular risk. So if I exercise, if I eat well, if I keep my cholesterol under control, I can influence those bad genes.
Talking of eating well, David, a while ago, you gave me a little tip, which I've been following. To eat an apple a day, because apparently it keeps the neurologist away.
That's right. Yeah. Well, the old analogy was about keeps the doctor away, but
yes, slightly adapted it for relevance of this podcast.
Yes, that's right, very good. Yeah.
But it's and you ask me, how do I feel? I mean, I feel good at the moment. But there's any number of things that are going on, but I feel like eating an apple a day, and let's say nutrition generally has a role to play, does it not?
That's right. Well, the apple, it has a lot of pectin in it, and
pectin.
Yeah. So if you're a jam maker, you'd know what pectin is. It helps it set.
I see.
And so it also acts as a binding sort of agent in your gut. And makes more bulk, and so eating apples
explains a few things.
Will actually help with the transit at the other end.
I see.
Yes.
Well.
Not nice. Saw this other day.
Can I just say that was beautifully put? The transit at the other end.
I've got a tree full of apples out there, so
yes, I remember. I remember. Let's stick on the transit a little bit. Dave and I have been taking a probiotics drink/supplement called
Symprove.
Symprove.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I'm not entirely sure what it's doing, but I saw it referenced by you guys at the charity, and I thought, why not? It's a little bit expensive. That's why I'm hesitating a little bit. But what is it?
You get a discount through Parkinson's UK.
That's right. If you go to Parkinson's UK website, you can get a slight discount on it. So Symprove is a probiotic. It has 4 good bacteria in it. So in Parkinson's, you get an overflow of bad bacteria. So these are pro-inflammatory bacteria in your gut. Normally, your gut bacteria are there to sort of help digest your food, help it absorb. But if you can get a pro-inflammatory phenotype, it can cause a lot of problems. And in Parkinson's, there is an overflow of this pro-inflammatory phenotype. So we funded a study at King's looking at Symprove, and they were looking to see whether this probiotic would actually improve the symptoms in people with Parkinson's. And the study was really successful. It showed that, when they tested that when you take the tablet and they timed it to when you actually see an effect, when you're switching on, and there was a marked improvement in on time.
So you say tablet, but we're actually...
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes.
It's a different form, is it?
Yeah.
Same thing?
No, it was a liquid. Sorry,
it was a liquid.
Yeah.
But the principle is there was a study that showed people that were taking this liquid supplement, they got to an on state quicker than if they didn't.
That's right, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so the thing is that, the bad bacteria also chew up and digest your L-DOPA before it gets in your body. They also release factors that block its uptake through the gut. So the Symprove is improving the population of good bacteria and decreasing the bad bacteria. So the idea is that it stops your L-DOPA being chewed up, it stops it being blocked, so it gets into the bloodstream quicker. And also they felt better during the day, they had much better on time. Yeah, there's lots of benefits from it.
Yeah, it's difficult to know, isn't it, Dave? Because, I mean, like I said, I feel pretty good at the moment. We've noticed, have got a little bit more on time in the last month or two, but that's also coinciding with a change in medication.
Yeah, on a Picapone now.
A Picapone. It's very difficult to decipher what's contributing and what's not, or
maybe a combination of the above,
Maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
But no harm with these sorts of... Right,
no.
Okay.
Well, I haven't got Parkinson's, but I take probiotics because, the studies, even during aging, bad bacteria are involved in that and loss of cognitive function as we age and things as well.
Yeah. Talking of cognitive function, Dave, you had a rather interesting experience yesterday, didn't you?
I did. I did my cognitive test for DBS with Jennifer Foley, who's been on the podcast.
Yes.
And Dr. Jennifer Foley is a neuropsychologist.
Yes.
And she put me through my paces. It's quite weird.
It's quite intense. Yeah.
2 hours of looking at pictures and maths questions, all sorts.
Memory tests, numbers. Yeah. It's really. I speak to a lot of people that are going through the DBS process, and they get focused on the off test, coming off the medication and testing your physical responses. So as part of the assessment, obviously you've got that side of things, but you've also got speech tests, cognitive tests, you've got scans and so on. I found the most difficult not coming off the medication, which was painful, don't get me wrong, but that 3 hours of cognitive tests, it's like being back at school, wasn't it, Dave? Really intense.
Really intense, yeah. Just one-on-one with someone, yeah. It's really, really incredible. There's things like barbershop photos.
Yes.
You go through and you have to say, which one did you see before? And
yes, a deck of cards. Yeah. It's quite interesting, actually, but it's quite intense. One thing I would say, talking to people, our listeners here, that contemplating things like DBS and having an assessment, a test, it's not a test in that sense. You are not being judged, let's say. It's not a school test that you have to get a certain mark to pass or anything like that. You know, they're looking at you to evaluate whether an advanced treatment like DBS is appropriate to you. They're looking for certain red flags and so on, right? Yeah. So don't view it as a...
No.
Are they going to accept me or not?
Part of the process.
Part of the process, yeah. Absolutely.
And one of the things I had to do was pretend I was going around a supermarket and say what was on the shelves. And she was the first person who said Mr. Sheen.
Really?
I don't know where I got Mr. Sheen from.
He's got cleaning on the brain.
Yes, I think we need to get Jennifer back on this podcast just to talk about your session with Mr. Sheen.
Horrendous that one.
David, you also gave us another tip about fatigue and a supplement for that, the NAD Plus. I'll just, before you explain what NAD Plus is, this might be anecdotal and it might be a coincidence, but when I started taking NAD Plus, I started winning tennis. So I've got used to things. I've won a few times recently, but I do feel a lot more energized, I've got to say, in the last few months, and that does coincide with taking this supplement. Just tell us what it is and what it's doing.
Well, that's why I contacted you rather than Dave, because you were losing at tennis.
Thank you. Very
kind.
And
I thought this supplement might help you win.
I thought you were one of the people, David. You know.
Go on, tell us the secret then, so everyone can benefit.
Yeah, so it was after your podcast, your fantastic podcast on fatigue, and I thought, well, I've suggested some people with Parkinson's to take this, obviously in consultation normally with their neurologist or the Parkinson's nurse to make sure they're aware of it. But as you say, it's almost like the fertilizer. It's almost like the starting material for your mitochondria. And as we know, the mitochondria are your batteries in the cells, and they produce your energy. And if you can give yourself more energy, by providing this starting material, which is NAD+, it sort of fires up your mitochondria to give you more energy. So your batteries in your cells are working better and hopefully alleviates the fatigue. It doesn't work in everybody. A good friend of mine had breast cancer. She had 2 different cancers in each breast, had really aggressive chemotherapy. She was asleep by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The other week we went out and had dinner with her. She was sparky even until 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
But then again, I've had some people with Parkinson's, it hasn't worked for them.
Yeah, it hasn't.
No.
But try it out. You can buy it on Amazon, can't you? I think it's
about 20 quid, isn't it?
About 20 quid, yeah.
How many tablets do you get for 20 quid?
I think it's a month supply, is it? Or 2 month supply? I can't remember. It's not unreasonable, but...
If you can gather more anecdotal evidence from people who've tried it, and then we can actually run a clinical trial, because fatigue is a big issue.
It is, but we mentioned it on that episode that you're referring to, Why Am I So Tired, we called it, if you want to go back and listen. But the problem with fatigue is people kind of put up with it almost, and they don't really report back from a research perspective. I can't think of a single trial in my journey with Parkinson's that has referenced fatigue.
Yeah. So this is what we want to do, is really look at those other symptoms and not concentrate on the motor, and think about, what can we do in sleep? What can we do in fatigue? And really sort of tackle some of these thorny issues and get some proper clinical trials done in these areas.
What's exciting you most at the moment in terms of clinical trials and things going on in the Parky world?
I think, we've got the phase 3 ripresinumab. That's the antibody therapy from Roche. So that in the extended phase 2 study that they ran, had a significant slowing of Parkinson's in the extended study.
David,
so that's
could you just explain the phases for people who aren't familiar? So phase 3, I always think it's when it gets really exciting.
Yes, it is.
But just explain the phases if you don't mind.
Yeah, so obviously clinical trials are all about safety, and human safety is the primary concern. So all of the molecules have gone through a lot of lab testing. They've gone through toxicology testing in a variety of species before they even get to humans. But phase 1 is all about testing in healthy volunteers. I used to volunteer when I was doing my PhD to earn a bit of extra money. And so people volunteer, they take the drugs for a while, show that they're actually safe. And then phase 1B is when they'll go into Parkinson's patients as well. So then once it's been shown to be safe, they move into phase 2, larger studies, more people. So they're not only looking at safety, but also does it do what it says on the tin? If it's looking for symptoms, does it alleviate those? And if it's looking for, disease modifying, is it slowing Parkinson's? And then if there's a signal there, then they go into the larger studies, which are phase 3, and there's several hundreds.
Yeah. So the phase 3 drug that you were talking about there, the name of which I've forgotten already.
That's prasinumab. That's an antibody therapy.
Right.
So we know about the alpha-synuclein, which is the bad protein in Parkinson's. The cells know that it's a bad protein, and when it misfolds, the cell pushes it out and thinks that, okay, a dustbin lorry will come by and pick up the bad protein and get rid of it, but an adjacent neuron picks it up. And so this antibody comes in, binds to it, and encourages it to be cleaned up by the dustbin lorry rather than being taken up by the next cell. So, this is just a once-a-month infusion. They're recruiting into the phase 3 already, so this is on top of your standard medication.
What else is in the pipeline that's at that stage, the phase 3?
So we've obviously got the 2 drugs which are currently in the treatment arms in ACT-PD, so that's accelerating clinical trials in Parkinson's.
Now, we've touched on ACT-PD a few times already, but can you just give your description of it? Because you explain it quite well. Can you just explain the infrastructure part first, and then can you just also then talk about the 2 initial compound drugs that are being used?
Yes. So it's almost like an analogy of if you want to play a football game. So what you do is raise the money, build the stadium, play your football game, and you disassemble the stadium. That's bonkers, isn't it? But that's what we do in clinical trials, in standard clinical trials, because you'd be testing a placebo against an active compound. You'd raise the money, set up the trial structure, run the trial, close it down, dismantle the structure, and then go and analyze the data.
Demolish the stadium.
Yeah. So the thing is, you want to play your football match in the same stadium. So, the ACT-PD one is really leaving the infrastructure in place so that we can run multiple football games, multiple trials, but also it's actually comparing several drugs, within parallel. So you've got several hundred people in each arm, and then you have a shared placebo or dummy drug arm in the trial as well. And because you're running, you're using the same placebo arm, less people in the trial get placebo, which is good.
So the first 2 drugs are at phase 3 as well, aren't they?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so it's a loaded drug.
I do find that when we talk about EGS ACT-PD, it can be a little bit confusing because when we speak, and I'm a PPIE member on the program as well, we focus a lot on the infrastructure and the quite revolutionary way it's been set up, but we almost sort of dismiss the actual really exciting possibilities of the drugs that are coming through that pipeline and will go through onto that platform and trialed that way. Because there's the next round of drugs they're also very promising as well. So we have got a quicker way to trial drugs than we had previously, is my conclusion.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's and also the inclusion criteria are much broader.
Yeah.
So as long as you're stably medicated, you can join the trial. I was giving a talk in Guernsey at the Parkinson's group there, and they've not had a chance to join in trials. A group of them are going to fly over to Southampton, do the baseline measurements there, and that's the only thing that you need to do in the clinic. The rest of it you can do at home.
At home, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll mail the drugs out to them and things. It widens the participation. And there's going to be about 47 trial centres across the whole of the UK. We've never had that before.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So this is one of the stars that's aligning.
Yeah, actually. Didn't you tell me there was a specific reason that you went to Guernsey? Am I mixing it up? A genetic thing?
It was actually raised while I was there because I can't remember whether it's Sark or one of the other smaller islands. It really wasn't a genetic thing. It was more about environmental. And that island was totally occupied by the Germans during the war. In fact, they displaced the people off the island and then they buried all sorts of nasty stuff there. And there's a bit of a higher incidence there. I don't know whether it was Sark or one of the other islands that they were talking about. So, the possibility of studying whether environmental factors actually does trigger a higher incidence of Parkinson. So, these smaller populations that are exposed to these, potential toxins are quite interested in studying.
Well, some professors are very vocal about, toxins and paraquat and all that sort of stuff. Where do you stand on it?
Paraquat's an interesting one. Obviously, in the UK, we banned it many years ago. Or it was mainly banned because farmers used to basically commit suicide with it. And it really wasn't for the toxic effects. But, we don't want stuff around that's potentially also causing cancer as well. So it was banned many, many years ago across the whole of Europe. It's still used in a lot in Australia and also in America. I think, we should generally be banning a lot of these, quite harmful. They do cause, you can generate a Parkinson's model in an animal with it, but you need to give it a lot and they look pretty sick. If you think about James Parkinson, 1817, it was way before we had any herbicides or pesticides.
Before Industrial Revolution, before.
But I think we should just be eliminating these things, just as reducing the potential factors.
Yeah, exactly. The absence of proof is not the proof of absence sort of thing, right? In terms of the burden.
Yeah.
Can we talk about mice a little bit? You touched on humans, non-humans. I met a guy in Oxford recently who effectively implanted DBS into a mouse with 30 different electrodes going to the mouse's brain and hardwired into a battery. I thought it was remarkable. The reason I mentioned that is because you told me a very interesting story about mice, Parkinson's and stress.
Oh, yeah, that was actually in rats.
Oh, rats. I beg your pardon.
That's all right, no. So stress is a really unusual factor. If you look at the epidemiology studies, I think 15 really good ones have been done, and 13 have implicated a significant impact of stress on the development of Parkinson's. And also, obviously, with yourselves, in stressful situations, your Parkinson's gets worse.
The Parky shake,
That's right, yeah. But, we were trying to think about the development. So we took a group of rats. We gave them a stressful situation over a few weeks, and then we left
Watching
them.
England play football, for example.
Yeah. or Argentina versus England. And then we left them for a few months, and then we gave them a toxin which induces Parkinson's. And in the animals that were stressed, the loss of dopamine-producing cells was significantly more. And that was a long time after they'd been stressed. So stress, obviously, liberates lots of cortical factors and things like that are swimming around long time after you've been stressed. And also in the recent study that we've done looking at incidence and prevalence, Parkinson's wasn't, more in the manual workers, it's more in the highly educated, population who are going to have more stressful jobs, the airline pilots, the air traffic controllers.
There was a study that by profession looked at prevalence of Parkinson's, all right?
Yeah. So this is the one that we did with our incidence and prevalence statistics.
Oh, that's part of that. Oh, I didn't realise that. So it was more prevalent in white collar than blue collar?
That's right.
Oh,
yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Well, it was they looked at the educational status.
Okay. So by inference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we've spoken a lot about sort of biological aspects of Parkinson's and by way of treatments, but as you know, I've got some technology living inside me that's helping me with my, at least, symptoms. Where do you stand on the role of technology in research?
I think we're just, again, this is another star aligning time, really, because technology is advancing really rapidly. Parkinson's UK funded the pivotal trial looking at DBS many years ago. And, you're seeing the benefits, and many people see the benefit. Then we've got adaptive DBS, which has come in. And now if we can understand the circuitry within the brain and why it's causing problems with Parkinson's, there are other forms of stimulation which are coming along on the horizon. Also, there is focused ultrasound, and that doesn't involve surgery. There are some people that aren't suitable to DBS. Focused ultrasound isn't licensed in the UK at the moment. Need to gather some more experimental data. But in Spain, in the US, focused ultrasound could be a technology alternative for those people who can't access DBS. But also you've got external stimulators coming along. We've funded grants where they're looking at vagal stimulation. You trigger a stimulator in your neck to trigger your vagus nerve.
Where you wear an external device.
Is that the vagus nerve, is it?
That's right, yeah. Right. So there's lots of potential here, and we're just scratching the surface at the moment.
Yeah, we've got episodes coming up on focused ultrasound and adaptive DBS and some of the more innovative technical aspects as well. We've got some great guests coming up talking about those subjects. So very exciting area.
I'm just wondering if you had to put a time scale on finding a cure for us. It's always going to be 5 years, isn't it?
Well, I think it could be quicker than 5 years. So if you think about it, a lot of these phase 3 drugs are going to read out before 5 years. So we've got 6 drugs in phase 3 at the moment. And the quicker that we can recruit into the trials, the quicker we get the data. What is holding up trials, reading out quicker, is participation. We need bums on seats, basically. Yes. We need people to volunteer. So I think, the community is used to saying, 5 years, 10 years. Whereas now there are potential treatments that they could sign up to in a clinical trial that could slow their Parkinson's now.
And often we're not getting to the required numbers, right?
That's right, yeah.
Which is very sad, isn't it?
Yeah, Top Hat is one of our trials for trying to look at hallucinations.
Oh, hallucinations, sorry. Yes,
so that's using a repurposed drug on Dancitron. So that's we use
Dancitron.
Yes, on Dancitron. Yes.
That's a bit of Dancitron, yeah. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Yeah. So that's it's been used many years now for treating sickness in people who receiving chemotherapy. But 2 small trials saw that it was could actually moderate or even eliminate hallucinations, which are a common problem in Parkinson's.
It's quite frightening if you've got Parkinson's. I know a guy who was seeing dogs around and spiders crawling over the ceiling. It's all really strange things.
But we've been a bit slow on recruiting for that trial, so now we're probably not going to get the results until 2027.
David, would you mind just spelling out for our listeners how they participate? Where do they go? Where do they find out more information? And it is quite daunting if you're not from this world, or you're not inclined to get involved in research, or you're not from a scientific background.
There's quite a lot of form filling as well, which is difficult when you've got Parkinson's.
Yeah, I think the thing to do is, try and talk to your Parkinson's nurse, your neurologist, about what is available. And also look on the Parkinson's UK website, on the research section. There's a lot of talk about, what's involved in clinical trials. We've got the Take Part Hub. So that you just put your postcode in and it will tell you all of the trials that are running in your area. And to warm yourself up, you can think about, not taking part in a drug trial, but in a trial where researchers are looking at movement, or they're looking to get, psychological information. warm yourself up and then think about clinical trials.
Yes.
But, we've got the helpline, which is manned 50% of the time by Parkinson's nurses. If you've got questions about what's involved, or you can contact us at research and we'll set up calls and talk to people about what's involved in research about, it's all about safety. And these drugs have been through a lot of testing if they've got to phase 3. So, but they're looking to see, does it do what it says on the tin? And if we can recruit quicker, we can get the results quicker.
You heard it there, right?
Is there a professor that really excites you with the work he's doing right now, her?
I think there's a whole load of excellent work. I think the UK, there's lots of UK scientists here that are really doing some fantastic work. And also this is why we did the Parkinson's Research Centre venture with the UK DRI, which is the UK Dementia Research Institute.
Yeah.
Because there's some exciting Parkinson's researchers now within the UK.
Yeah. You're looking at the brochure for the
I've got
launch.
one here, yeah. Professor Laura Parkinen, Professor Henry Holden, and Professor Pete McGill. That's right, yeah. And also we've got the centre director, who is Maratal Mukit. So we've got one more group leader to recruit. They've got trials that are failing. So it's really posing 2 questions there. Do we know enough about Parkinson's? Is there a missing piece of the jigsaw? Or are we putting the drugs in the wrong people? So we set up this fantastic partnership with the UK Dementia Research Institute. So although it's got dementia in the title, it covers all neurodegenerative conditions. And really to get a basic understanding of the biology and then translate those findings into new therapies. So also there are 27 groups already working in the DRI. And so we'll get a critical mass of people working in Parkinson's that will really facilitate new drug development. A lot of really good people on our side, isn't there?
Yeah.
Lots going on. Lots of stuff that's coming to fruition. And the way that Parkinson's UK as a charity has enabled relatively easy access into the world of research, I think needs to be taken advantage of, right? You said it there, we're not getting enough bums on the seats, right? So come on, listeners, reach out. Parkinson's UK website is a great place to start.
We'll put the link for research as well on the show notes.
Yeah. In answer to your question, Dave, what one professor that's excited me in the Parkinson's world is this guy, right? Doing some great stuff and breaking it down into very simple language.
I've got some quick fire questions for you before we go.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You ready?
Go on then.
Right, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Lab coat or suit?
Oh, lab coat, yeah, much.
Oh, really? That surprises me.
Much more.
Oh, really?
Professional looking, then, isn't it? Really.
Which Parkinson's discovery literally made you go, "Wow"?
I think it's the alpha-synuclein. Yeah.
And that was
Maria Spellantini. Yeah, we funded a lot of that work.
This is 20 plus years ago.
Yeah,
now.
that's right. Yeah, because all of the neurodegenerative diseases have a bad protein, and the discovery that alpha-synuclein was associated with Parkinson's was really a landmark feature there.
One word that sums up the future of Parkinson's research?
I think it's hopeful. I think, we're in that hopeful time where there's promise there and it's within reach.
And finally, if you could solve just one problem with Parkinson's tomorrow, what would it be?
Fatigue.
Yeah. You're going to get a lot of people agreeing with you listening to this podcast. Yeah, fatigue, yeah. And it's nice to hear people from your world now talking about fatigue, because back in the day, I mean, maybe you were, but back in the day when we first got diagnosed, nobody was talking about fatigue and non-motor symptoms. So it's nice to be talking about speech, fatigue, anxiety, hallucinations, things that are really affecting, as well as all the motor stuff as well, right? Parkinson's is often a lot more than meets the eye, unfortunately.
Very complicated.
I've got a quiz question for the both of you, actually.
Go on then, before you go.
3 words that you can only ever use in the context of Parkinson's.
That's a tricky one, that is. Only in the context of Parkinson's.
I'm allowed to swear. What's that word you use with about collecting things?
Exactly, that's one of them.
Sponding, something like that. Is it
Punding.
Punding,
yeah.
Punding.
There's 4 or 5 actually. I'll put them in the show notes. And I can't quite remember that. But just punding was the one I want to focus on. Can you just explain what punding is? Because my theory is that a lot of people experience punding but don't know what it is.
Yeah, so collection. Yes.
Yeah.
Or it's those repetitive, or it's those compulsive behaviors, isn't it, that often are associated with dopamine agonists. So
Muhammad Ali used to cut out pictures.
That's right, that was the example.
Yeah.
From a magazine.
Collect them,
Yeah, well, I had somebody who I knew, and she said that her husband, took all the CDs off the shelf when we had CDs, and he would order them alphabetically, and then the next time he'd take them off the shelf and do them by composer and things. And, it's those effects that are a similar thing to collecting compulsive behaviours. Yeah.
David, thanks for your time today. That was really
fascinating.
informative.
Really fascinating.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
David Dexter, definitely a man at the cutting edge of Parkinson's research. Incredible, 40 years experience. Amazing guy.
He's full of random knowledge that's actually quite useful for us Parkies, isn't he? That was a great conversation, going off in different directions, and loved it.
He's so across everything, isn't he? He's finger in every pie, He knows every bit of research that's going on in the Parkinson's world. He's got his own stuff as well, eating an apple a day and NAD+. I'm going to try that now.
Yeah, I've got it here. The NAD, where have I put it? NAD+. It's 120 tablets, so that will get you 4 months actually. 4 months for £20. So that's, can't do the maths. Not reasonable. £5 a month.
£5
reasonable
a month.
Price. Yeah.
Yeah, reasonable. I'm going to get some, definitely.
We'll leave the link in the show notes for that. Apples, everybody hopefully knows where to get an apple from. And the Symprove stuff, we'll leave the link for that as well, yeah. I thought that sort of conversation, I quite liked it because for the non-scientists like us, we can follow along, right? Even though it's quite researchy, we can follow along.
He speaks so simply, doesn't he? In layman's terms most of the time. There were one or two abbreviations I didn't understand, but you can look him up if you're struggling. But fantastic chat. Really enjoyed it.
And it sort of you're left with a feeling of hope because I don't know, maybe it's just the timing of the episode and where we are now in mid 2026. But there's a lot of stuff that's coming to fruition now, and it's really encouraging. There's a lot of phase 3 drugs, 6 of them. I didn't realize it was 6 actually. The stem cell stuff, the gene therapy stuff, EGS-ACT PD. There's a lot going on, and it's very, very encouraging, and it's good to have it all laid out.
Great to hear from Andy Cassie as well. Really, really lovely guy from Sheffield.
What a lovely man. Yeah.
Really cool. And it seems to be working well for him, which is hope for us all.
Yeah, I mean, it's been growing for 2 years, and that's the thing that he was trying to get across. You've got to be patient with it because things are growing inside your head, basically, and it's going to take time. But the early signs are for him and for the trial promising. Yeah.
The other thing that caught my attention was the Syntara, the anti-inflammatory drug, which is inflammation in the brain is huge with Parkinson's. So that could be a key to some sort of cure, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's potentially lots of different avenues, and it's nice because a few years ago it felt like we were putting all our eggs in very few baskets. And now it feels like we've got a whole range of things, and if one of those things come off, then we'll take that, wouldn't we?
The stars are aligning, my friend. The stars are aligning.
that was the phrase of the moment.
Speaking of stars, we've got some stars doing amazing things.
Oh, I see what you did there. All right, come on then, let's hear them.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Got a load of fitties on this week's People with Parkinson's do amazing things. A load of fitties, fit people.
Fitties?
Fitties, yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Go on.
Like the amazing Larry Groggin is a toast to the Parky world after running a marathon a day for 100 consecutive days. Dr. Groggin was diagnosed in 2019. He said, Parkinson's taught me how to live with it, not beat it. He quotes Abraham Lincoln and said it's destroyed his enemies by making them his friends.
Marathon man, love it. Quoting
100
Lincoln.
marathons in 100 days consecutively. That's crazy, isn't it?
I think he might have some punding issues.
Yeah, bit over the top. All right, here we go again.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Former military photographer, double leg amputee, Owen has just been given the go-ahead to get DBS. Owen lost his legs at 17 in a train accident. He's 68 now, diagnosed 5 years ago. He'll have DBS at some point next year. Owen says he's just started playing pickleball in a wheelchair and hoping to buy a specialist pickleball chair.
Wonderful. I've been talking to Owen. It's a remarkable character. Yeah, very modest. Obviously, very sad story. He lost his legs when he was very young. He's a former war photographer, 68 years now, just been accepted for DBS at St George's down the road from us. And
Never
his
give
wife,
up, never give up.
Never give up, yeah. And his wife can smile Parkinson's. Sound
Really?
familiar? Yeah. Another one. So, don't know, we might have him on the show at some point. He's like a really interesting character.
Some man for one man, as I always say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Meet Martin, an avid cyclist from Belfast who's back on his bike after going through deep brain stimulation. Bit of a theme here. My Parkinson's progressed to a point where I couldn't cycle. DBS changed everything. Now I'm back on my bike and life is full again. Martin recently tackled the 100-mile Causeway Coast. It's from Giant's Causeway. Brilliant on the bike. 100 miles,
Brilliant.
well done.
So we're ending on centuries, I think. That's the theme, isn't it? Centuries and DBS,
Yeah.
I think it was the theme of the amazing people this week.
Next episode's going to be DBS as well, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So that's nicely queued up there, Dave. Nicely queued up. Should we mention some of the dates for events that are coming up later this year that have been announced, Dave?
Let's do that because we're going to be performing live, aren't we? A live podcast.
Performing. You
Performing.
make it sound like a circus act.
We are in many ways.
we are.
At Parkon in Birmingham. Tickets are going on sale on Monday, the 3rd of August. Prices, day one, £15. We're not on then. We're in the cheap tickets, £10 on the second day. And
Bargain.
free online. If you want to join us online, you can do for nothing.
Yeah, and the dates of Parkon itself are November the 13th and 14th in Birmingham. If you came last year, it's the same venue. Well worth attending. If you can't make it in person, join online. I think the online experience is very good by all accounts. They are charging for it this year. Not the online stuff, but in the in-person stuff, they're charging for. I guess they're trying to, I don't know, what they're trying to do, Dave? Cover some costs and
Yeah, I would imagine so, yeah.
trying to manage the numbers. But well worth attending. And we've got a special guest for our session, which will be on day 2 on the 14th, Saturday. We are doing a live episode with Professor Tom Faltini again. So he's my professor. He's now your professor, isn't he, Dave?
He is,
So,
yeah. We're going to do Ask the Professor.
Yeah, we're doing a follow-up to that previous episode, Ask the Professor. So same sort of format. We're going to invite questions beforehand and we're going to put it to the professor.
He's one of the most knowledgeable people in the Parkinson's field. Incredible guy.
Exactly. Well regarded.
He's very, very personable, very, very charming and very, very good all-round guy. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Yay. Right. I'm off to transit at the other end, I think, Dave.
Okay.
As David mentioned.
Transit in your own personal time, not on the pod.
I'm not
Go and eat an
multitasking,
apple.
don't worry.
Go eat an apple.
I will actually. I haven't had mine yet today. Yeah, everyone eat an apple. And
Don't
go
forget
and
if you wanna
sign
go
up for
to-
some research, please, listeners.
Link on the show notes.
While you're there, give us a rating and give us a review. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. We know who you are. We don't actually. Yeah, help us help you and all that. See you next time.
See you, bye. Love you.
Bye.
You've been listening to Two Parkies in a Pod, a Parkinson's podcast with Dave and Kuan. To get in touch, visit the website twoparkiesinapod.com or send your voice notes or emails to hello@twoparkiesinapod.com.